So we're just waiting for, um, hey Joe, how's it going?
Hey Leila, how are you?
I'm doing well. So we have a couple people that have joined.
This is great. Hello, Acid Utopia.
There are some waves there. Um, so my name's Leila Ostad, and I'm the program manager for PowerBack. Um, and this is Joe Mondi. He's the program manager assistant. And PowerBack is a group that's dedicated to ending dating abuse through awareness and education. And we're operated by a partnership for change, where you can find us on the web, a partnershipforchange.org. So I'm very excited for today's topic, Joe. So what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about early warning signs in a relationship. A lot of times we talk about sort of, red flags, things to look out for in your relationship that might lead to understanding better that you're heading towards a abusive relationship, or that the person that you're with has an abusive personality. And a lot of times we see that, not only teenagers, but a lot of people are missing these signs. And so we want to talk about some early ones. Um, I wanted to start by asking you, Layla, in any case that you are seeing someone, you're dating someone, you go on a date with somebody, where we used to go on dates. Now I don't know what people are doing, but
A FaceTime date or video chat
FaceTime,
date.
whatever. You have a good time the first time. You go out somewhere, whatever, it goes fine. And so then you see the person again. Week goes by, you've seen them 2 or 3 times now. By, let's say, the second week, third week, this person tells you, I could really see a future with us. I really like you a lot. I think I might love you. I want you to meet my family this week. What would you make of that kind of outward? I think actually you had a good term for it, and maybe we'll get into it, for like a love bomb. Like, what do you make of that kind of situation?
So that's a really good question, because if you asked me that like 5 or 10 years ago, I maybe would have been very I would have felt really good about myself, maybe, and
Mm,
felt like, wow, like this person like likes me, like they love me. I would have felt maybe very validated and felt like, yeah, we really have something. And like how you see in social media or like movies, like people meet and they fall in love very quickly. I
right.
maybe would have imagined that in my mind, like I found my person, maybe. And so that's maybe what my younger self would have thought. But now that you bring this up and ask me, after, lots of experience in my life and spending a lot of time studying domestic violence and dating abuse and unhealthy and healthy relationships, I would say that's a big red flag.
Right.
And it's a big red flag for many reasons. Anyone that's watching, drop us a line. Like, what would you think, or what would you say um, if someone came on so strong and said they loved you or wanted you to meet their parents
What
after
is it?
like,
Sorry. What do you think that they're trying to accomplish? The person that does that. Do they really feel that way? Are they capable of feeling that way in 2 or 3 weeks? I mean, I know I felt strongly for somebody that you meet. Like, you could, see someone at the grocery store and you start thinking like, wow, that person might be great or whatever. But
after like 2 or 3 weeks, can you really love someone? Because if we look at the definition of love, it's really knowing that person.
mhm.
And when I think of love, I think of a lot of like traits or qualities that person must possess for me to love them or to feel like stable with them. And after 2 or 3 weeks, you really don't know them at all. You really just know what they've presented to you. So I don't think you can really love someone after 2 or 3. I think you can love the idea of them. You can love the potential of where it might be going. You could be excited. You could be in that lust phase. Someone said love is a strong word. Yeah, like love is a super strong word. And I don't think you're able to if we're talking about the definition of love that I think what love is, I don't think you're able to have that after just knowing someone for 2 or 3 weeks. Like for me, like what makes a relationship so strong or makes it's such an important characteristic is trust. And I think trust is something you learn over time. That can't be demonstrated in a couple of weeks or a couple of months.
Right.
And it would make me wonder, like, why are they saying this? Like, what are they? And I know in a lot of unhealthy relationships, they start out so strong and they start out with such strong, words of I love you and like I need you. And it makes me think, what, you don't even know me. So how do you love me? Why do you need me?
Well, that's why I wanted to ask, do you think and somebody with an abusive personality or that we would consider an abuser, that person, they're trying to perhaps accomplish something by saying that. They're trying to grab you.
They're trying to pull and push something to a level where it really isn't. So they're trying to almost force a different stage of the relationship, because once you're in that, and they're trying to make the other person feel that sort of very tight, intimate, emotional connection. So they're forcing that emotional connection, because once that emotional connection is there, it's much harder to leave a relationship. So they're forcing this deeper stage of a relationship. And that's, if you're in a deeper stage of a relationship, it's much harder to leave that relationship. So a lot of times someone will force a relationship or force a stage, and before you know it, you're already in and you don't even know the person. And so it really works to their advantage, because then as you start to learn who the person is and you start to see these not great quirks, it's already too late. You're already in there. You're already deep in there. You're already in love. You already have this deep emotional connection. And it's also funny is I learned a couple years ago that abusers or people that have abusive traits will sometimes talk about something that's very deep to them. Will talk about a time that they were abused or molested, or will talk about something that's very, very, should be very close to them. They shouldn't just share with strangers. And they'll share this with someone who, by date 1, date 2, date 3, someone they really don't know. And what they're hoping to accomplish is to create this like deeper connection that usually it takes time to accomplish. And then by sharing this about themselves, it hopes that the other person will then share something as well. So it acts to like create a connection that takes time to create, but you're kind of pushing it.
Right. What would you suggest then if somebody finds themselves in this situation? They go on a couple of dates, or they talk to somebody for a really short period of time, and they start coming on that strong. What do you think would be the right thing to say or to do?
Well, that's a really good question. So I would ask them, like, where are these feelings coming from? Like, tell me about this person. What do you know? Are the feelings coming from something that you're hoping for that will happen in the future? And I'd ask kind of where they are in their current like situation. Like, does it feel good to hear those words? And if so, like, have you ever felt love before? Do you feel love from your caregivers, from your parents? How do you feel about yourself? Does hearing that this person love you make you feel validated? Does it make you feel good about yourself? Are you at a level in your life where you're ready for a relationship? And if so, what qualities are important to you in a relationship? Because most of the qualities that most people would say, that takes time to learn about someone. Like, you're not going to learn that in a couple of weeks, even though they might say they are one way, like I'm trustworthy, I'm loyal, I'll protect you, whatever they're saying. Like, yeah, it's great to hear, but actions speak louder than words. And so if you want a relationship where you feel trust, where you feel like the other person's loyal, that takes time to see and to truly, see if the other person has that. So,
Right.
So I would say, why are things moving so fast? Like, what is this accomplishing? And if it's because you desperately feel like you need that love and you're lonely and you need that, I would just take a look at that and other ways to fill that instead of filling it with someone else.
Right. Right. Yeah, definitely. And I think this is great because it's like we said, there's those real things that happen in the very beginning when um, you're just building a relationship and you feel everything. It's more of a passion at that moment, or it's more of just, you want something to work out. Of course, everybody wants to have, not everybody, but a lot of people want to have a very strong relationship and they want to have these. So it's very easy, I feel like, in that time period, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, or whatever, to overlook these very, very essential moments. And so, hopefully, we'll reach some people with this conversation.
Yeah, and then
And
also just kind of thinking about where we are right now with the pandemic and COVID. I talk to a lot of people and they say they feel lonely and they don't feel, they have a lot of very strong feelings. And I wonder if someone came along and helped to ease that loneliness and, provided answers and gave them hope and made them feel good.
right.
Um,
You're saying they're basically vulnerable,
Vulnerable.
in
Yeah,
that moment, right?
yeah, yeah. And so I would always say, think about it. If you're only 2 or 3 dates in, how much could you possibly really know about this person? Even if
Right.
they're long dates where it's an overnight date, you wake up talking, like you need to learn through behaviors, not words. That's how you learn to get to know someone. You learn
Right.
through how they act, how they act under stress, how they treat you under stress, how they treat other friends in their life, how they treat family members. Um, when there are disagreements, you learn how they react to disagreements. Do they yell? Do they scream? Do they throw things? Or do they talk it out? Do they compromise? And you need to think about what's important to you in a relationship.
hmm
So,
And I think it's an act of respect also, to not, um, I just want to word it, like, to not have somebody, you know, man, I'm so close. It's an act of respect to sort of like, I'm just trying to say, on the side of the person who's trying to get all of that attention out of somebody right away. They're trying to pull it and pull it and pull it. And I just think it's an act of respect to allow somebody to gradually get there. I think that's what I was trying
yeah,
to say. I think it's an act of
totally.
respect to build a
And not
relationship
push it.
and
Yeah.
right, exactly.
It's an
Yep.
act of respect. It's giving someone space. It's giving
hmm
someone time to think about things. It's giving someone time to reflect. But a lot of times people don't want the other person to think about it. They want to move fast, get that
Right,
person caught up in it. Because the moment they think about it, they were like, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. But if they're
right.
caught up in that emotion, it's moving fast and it's going, yeah, it's totally works to the
That's
person's
it. You said it how I
benefit.
wanted to say it. You
So
got it way better than I did.
yeah, so I think that, is a great point that you brought up. And I think that this is a good discussion. And I think if you're starting to date someone or you are in a relationship, to kind of think about the beginning of that relationship and how did you get to know them? And, in the beginning, the first couple weeks, is that the way they are now? And think about the beginnings of the relationship. And I think it's really important to think about.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm happy that we had some people who joined. Feel free to DM us, comment. We're going to post the video up on Instagram. Comment with your views and your thoughts. Is 2 or 3 dates too soon to be in love, or can you be in love? Tell us. We want to hear this. These are my views, Joe's views. You may have different views, so please
Right.
let us hear. We're always open to comments. Love comments. I wish we had more comments and more questions. So we'll be back next Thursday um, with a new topic, and we will let you know what that topic is through Instagram post. And what's that one that you just post on story
I'm
and
sorry.
post? We will let you know what we come up with. So Thursday at 4, we will be here. Hope to see you guys all again. DM us with any suggestions for topics, things you want to talk about, and we will listen. So once again, I'm Leila Ostad with PowerBack. This is
Joe Mondi.
Joe Mondi. With PowerBack, we both PowerBack is operated by a Partnership for Change. Find us on the web at apartnershipforchange.org, and we will see you next Thursday at 4. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.